Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to the Bot Signal. My name is RJ Redden, and today, my friends, I have a very special guest. Robert Blacklidge. This man right here does a ton of work with startups. He's a startup expert. As far as I'm concerned, I have stamped him thus. Anyway, hackathons, business incubators, all kinds of things where people are birthing ideas. I met this man at the Synapse conference. You know, those things where everybody gets together in one room. It's crazy. It's called a live event. We used to have them in the olden days. And I met Robert. He walked by my booth. He said, "Hey, I've seen you before." And I'm like, "Where? Like, are those wanted posters still up?" Anyway, Robert is going to talk to us today about a lot of stuff. We've got some great topics for you. Let's start with Robert introducing himself. Robert, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Robert Blacklidge. I'm a serial entrepreneur. At this point, I've had 10 companies. And really what I do is ecosystem building, working with individuals who are looking to start, launch, grow, or scale their businesses and help them be successful at it. Having a variety of experiences, an MBA, serving time in the military has given me an incredible background to pull from in order to help people who are looking to start and grow their company.
That is so cool. I know a lot of the folks out there wherever they're watching us. I know that a lot of people are going through some stuff right now, and here's what I know. It's not all bad. It's not all bad because a long, long time ago in some literature class somewhere, Robert and I were just chatting about classes and stuff right before we got on. In some class somewhere, some literature class, believe it or not, I read a story about this guy who basically was lost in Antarctica and he knew he was going to die. What the sentence was that I remember so much is being at a place where you have less choices sharpens your focus and sharpens your vision. Right now, we have less choices than we used to. Yeah, things are going to get better. Yeah, we don't know when. We're at that point right now where we have less choices, but we can use this to sharpen our vision. Tell me, Robert, what are you seeing out there today? What opportunities are you seeing for people that they may not be seeing at first look?
Absolutely. So what's really interesting about what's going on is it is a billion plus people who are captive on social media. One of the really amazing things about this time that we're going through right now, even with all the turmoil, is that you have the largest captive audience that you will ever have access to. I've never seen the amount of growth and engagement on my posts ever. This is pre-algorithm change for Facebook, if you're familiar with that kind of engagement on your content. So when I talk to entrepreneurs and look at what they're trying to do and accomplish, I always start with why. If you haven't watched Simon Sinek's video, Why, starting with why, do so. Do yourself a favor and watch that video. It is phenomenal. Many years ago, it changed my life. And the focus is not what you do, right? Everyone knows what they do. I help entrepreneurs, but why do you do what you do? And work it back so that you understand at the core of who you are, what drives you. So for me, my passions are education and entrepreneurship, because I believe that education empowers you and entrepreneurship sets you free. So being able to help entrepreneurs pursue their passion so they can be free in what they want to do. All really cool, but knowing yours helps you articulate not only why you do, but be more effective at what you do. And then that all gets translated into your marketing content. Right now, being your true self, being open to the world and vulnerable, just like everyone else who is feeling lost at this point in time, you can be that voice, that lighthouse in the dark that helps them find what they're trying to. And whether they become your customer or not doesn't matter. What we're doing, the opportunity here is to build a following. And then out of that following, your customers will arrive.
It's true. If you, and everybody's kind of like, gosh, focused on their bottom line, what's coming in, what's happening. I want to focus on the opportunities, the opportunities that we have that are new, that are, wow, that captive audience thing. I hadn't really thought of that, but either they're playing Animal Crossing, or they're on a social network. Most people at this point, and so how can you take those tools and say, well, let's make a plan out of this. Let's make a different marketing plan. Let's either market differently, or let's market to different people. How do you start to pick up those tools once you've recognized, hey, there's an opportunity here?
Well, I think there's a lot of opportunities to use different tools, everything from Zoom to online programs like Thinkific or Udemy, all create opportunities for you to provide value to your customers. Even one-on-one phone calls can still provide tremendous value to those who are having difficulty right now. And so by identifying, one, what you bring to the table, what value you're going to offer, and then two, a call to action. You have this pain point, this problem. I have this solution. Let's work together to solve your problems.
Yeah. And it's simple stuff, but we forget that. We forget that in the face of, you got to have a landing page, you got to have a list, you got to have a blah, 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 all those things that people are kind of shouting that you absolutely have to have. That's not true in my experience. Has that been true in your experience? Can people start something new, a new direction? Can they start simply?
Yeah, absolutely. Every single business is based on relationships, right? You always have two parties, the buyer and the consumer, the producer and the consumer, always in every relationship that's business based. And so that bespokes an opportunity to focus on what that relationship is and what are the pieces that matter in that conversation. All the things on top of that are just automation in some shape or fashion or format. And so when we talk about automation, the best way to think about it is it's like a fan. What you're doing is just standing there. It's a fan that's turned off. And when you turn it on, things speed up. But if you have shit on the fan, it's just going to get everywhere. So you really need to make sure you have a clean process. And so focusing on the fundamentals so you have a strong foundation to build the rest of your business on. This is a great time to really go back and look at everything that you do, the journey of your customer from the point where they hear about you to the point where they are your customer again. What does that look like? What are the steps they have to go through? And ultimately, who is your lowest hanging fruit? Who are the people that truly, as soon as they hear about what you're doing, they jump on board? And how do you find more of them? Because those are the people that you have to work the hardest and you tend to get the most from.
Exactly. And so, how do you identify out there what would be that low hanging fruit? What would be something that something simple to understand that people could, buy off on? And when I say buy off on, I don't necessarily mean buy something. I mean, can you host a webinar right now that people would be interested in? Right. And when I talk about simplifying, I'm actually kind of talking against my own stuff for a second. I love chatbots. They're going to rule the world. It's all going to put Thinkific, Udemy, and all those people right out of business. There's nothing you can't do with a chatbot. But sometimes in places like this, in times like this, we need to simplify what we're thinking. We need to simplify what we're doing, and we need to simplify our offers, because people get offered left and right these days. So how do we make our stuff stand out? I think that the simplification of it all, looking at that customer journey, here's what I know. The customer journey is the most important thing. Your business, whatever business you run, if you're the head of IBM, If you're working out of your garage, I don't care what it is, what you're looking for is the next connection with another human being. If you don't find that next connection, it doesn't matter who you are. That business is not going to survive. I mean, some will be on life support a whole lot longer. But if any business stops making connections, regular connections with people, and I'm not talking about get them on your email list. I don't want to be on anybody's email list. Unroll.me, people. It works and it's free. I don't want to be on email lists because most of them don't apply to me. So why do I care? I don't. I want to help people recognize that simplifying is good, that simplifying your offer, making it, into a few words instead of a couple of paragraphs. Have you worked with people on that type of stuff before?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we start, right? Your message was why I talk about the why you do what you do. That's what people connect with. They connect why you're doing it. What problem are you solving? And do they have that problem as well? And from there, you can build messaging, content, and words that connect with those individuals that have the pain, right? This is a really unique problem that each company has. And so the solution is different for every single company. But I can give you an example, right? If I am trying to solve world hunger or even just local hunger, but I want to do it with healthy and cheap, effective food, most people will go out and ask, do you care about what you eat, right? And that yes or no answer is really easy. Most people are just going to say yes and move on. But if you go out and have conversations that are open-ended, don't lead to yes or no questions, and allow them to tell you a story, you're going to find out so much more information, right? So let me pose an question to you. Tell me about the last meal you had.
So I'm a little bad about leaving my desk for meals. Okay, last meal that I had was yesterday at about 2:00 in the afternoon. I heated something up in the microwave and I brought it back to my desk and I ate it. It was beef and broccoli. Frozen. We exist on frozen meals here. And so I had beef and broccoli here, and then I had a couple of yogurts here.
Yeah. So here's what's really cool. My options were yes, right? I have a yes. Great. You care about your food. Or I have, you need to be fast. They need to be effective. They need to be able to provide you flexibility in the location where you eat them. So they have to be compact and transportable, right? The amount of information that I got from that short little story is huge. And from that, I can now articulate all my marketing content, right? Fast, healthy, friendly meals for you to eat at your desk, right? That's where the meat of the messaging comes from. And then you take that and parlay that into your video content, your photos content, the conversations you have. Do a webinar on how to create ease, quick. In fact, everybody's at their desk right now. We're going to cook meals for the week. Here's your shopping list, right? So there's all sorts of incredible content that you can create by just focusing on what your customer's problem is, right? They're the one you're serving. They're the pain point you're solving for. Understanding who they are and what they need, your customer persona is huge to articulate the journey you want them to go on to become a customer. I hope that wasn't too complicated for you. I try to keep it as simple, but that is what I do. I spend a lot of time sitting down with those entrepreneurs and pulling apart what they're trying to do, what their messaging is, why they're doing what they're doing, and how they're servicing that customer to be able to provide the most value to them, or perceived value is a better word.
That was that little demo was pretty amazing because here's what just happened to me as I was listening to you. It was like, do I have enough people telling stories in my bots? Do I have enough people telling my clients stories on my bots? Because of course, that's why I'm in love with bots, is because it allows you to have a conversation and not just do yes, no, maybe so, and move on. Typical ways that we market are a bullhorn. They're a megaphone. They're not a conversation. And that tell me a story bit may have to make its way into all of my bots now. Get ready, clients. It's happening. So how fantastic is that? Do you have other suggestions about how to look for opportunities as, you know, things are happening here, or how to recognize opportunities? Has anything been occurring to you in the last couple of weeks as we've all been locked down?
Yeah. So the biggest thing to do is to have a conversation with the people who are already your customer, the people who you're already servicing, those who already have seen value in what you're doing, and really see what's going on with them and their lives and what they're trying to do. That is going to give you the biggest impact in what you're trying to achieve. Beyond that, it's just being a human. Right? We are all incredibly vulnerable at this time. And so there is huge opportunity. Reach out, have a call with every single one of your customers. Why wouldn't you? You care about what they're doing. They obviously meet your need, but beyond that, you can use some tools to scale that up. Chatbots are a great opportunity to do that, engage with. Phone calls, videos, emails, use those things, but focus on having that conversation that we're all here together. We're all going through this as one community, and we are here to help support you as we go forward. If you're trying to start something new, this is the best opportunity. There is billions of people sitting at home, and there is probably never been a time that they would be more willing to take your phone call to distract them from their kids or those Zoom calls that they have to be on day to day to day. So start setting those up, start building that conversational pipeline, and start having those conversations. You will learn more from conversations with your customer than you will from any market research. Because what is market research? It's customers' questions, but usually through surveys. So the meat of it, yes or no questions, open-ended conversations, and really fill out your customers, but then parlay that into all the other processes that you're currently doing. So even though we've slowed down, take the time to really think through everything you couldn't when you were crazy busy. Beyond that, I mean, this economic stimulus package, if you're a business that's been operating, the loan rates, you'll never get a loan with the same percentages or opportunity that existed before. Even freelancers have an opportunity to take advantage of these loans. And on top of that, it likely converts to a grant. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Even if you took the money and jumped it in the stock market, when it bounces back up, you're going to be maybe not a billionaire, but you're going to have this huge boost when the economy picks back up. The goal is to get you past this time. So take advantage of the programs that the government is putting online that is offering to you and your business, and then stay engaged with your community. Those are the biggest takeaways I can give you for what we're doing right now, what we're going through, and how as a community we can support each other to be able to get through this.
And something I want to touch back on what you said there is, there's no better chance for you to have just a phone call with your people right now. And, talk to them about anything, talk to them about how they're doing, how's their family, you know what I'm saying? And then, a little bit of just some questions, and those questions, those conversations, that's better than a bot. It's better than a bot. And people have time. They're just hanging out. So when we say that connection is the heartbeat of your business, there are so many opportunities for connections that exist right now that have not really existed before. People, and I'm including me and the people, okay? We don't necessarily know how to look for the new opportunities. We just see the old opportunities shutting down. We were talking about live events right before we got on the air, and how much some people, depend on those for income. And, how do we restructure those things? How do we rework it so that we can still make a connection, albeit a different one, with different kinds of events. So, I mean, I guess, what Robert is saying here, and certainly you can concur, is if you have your eyes open, if you are not sitting at home panicking, waiting for the curve to flatten. And by the way, if you are doing that, call me. Just call me and I will direct you to a person that you need. any person in my mental virtual Rolodex that I think can help, I will direct you to them, because now is the time we need to stick together. Absolutely. But if you are able to keep your eyes open, there are so many opportunities. And just to illustrate your point too, Robert, I don't mean to take up all of your time here, but to illustrate your point, I've been doing a lot of connection work on LinkedIn lately. It has been great. And I was connecting with somebody whom I'd said hi to on a broadcast that I was doing with StreamYard. And we set an appointment to chat together. And he was like a person I would never get a chance to get to talk to. He is high up in an organization, okay? And it freaked me out a bit while we were talking, because I hadn't had time to research him before we got online. And I found out who he was, and I was like, whoa. I wish I had worn a better t-shirt today. I mean, so it was, listen, you might be completely astounded if you use this time to connect with people, because if connection is the heartbeat of your business, I know cash flow is important, but without connection, you'll die. Without cash flow, there are ways to take care of that. Without connection, you'll die. What do you think about all that?
So I completely agree. I have had conversations with people I would have never expected the opportunity to have those conversations with, simply by asking for that connection in those relationships. And they're just like us. They put one leg on their pants, left, right, and they're off to the road, right? I think the only person now that would really, there's like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and maybe if I could somehow meet Einstein just to hear him talk, right? Those are the kind of people now that really struck me. But beyond that, most people are just going through their lives engaging. As far as revenue for your business, what products do you offer now? Are there ways to take those products online, remote, services that you can still do and facilitate while we're in the business? So to give you some really interesting ideas on the revenue side of the house, right? There's a company that helped start and launch off the ground called Help Her. So they're really amazing. They help you solve your business needs on demand. Their niche is between the business that really needs that support, but doesn't have the liquidity to hire part-time or full-time employees. So they come in, it's kind of almost gig-ish, but a little bit more regular than that. And they're able to connect, to fill envelopes, clean tables, do setup, you name it. She has been more busy than she's been in the entire time she's been in business, because they've worked around it. Look, come here, take your kids outside. We'll clean and sanitize everything. We'll clean up your house, right? People are at home alone with kids, and they're overwhelmed. And so there's huge opportunities in this new environment. And so how does your business fit into that? Can you still go out and do your service in some other way, shape, or form? And then at the same time, be graceful with it. Offer the opportunity, provide more value than what they pay for or that they feel like they've paid for, and they will become lifelong advocates for what you're doing. Knowledge is free for the most part, right? If I do a little bit of legwork, I can find the knowledge I'm looking for. But value, right? Understanding how that information applies to me is priceless. And so working with those groups and individuals to continue to provide what your service you're doing, specifically curtailed to your customers, that's what I would focus on. And then the ways that you can still facilitate, hey, we can't do all this. When things come back online, we will be your all end all be all product service personnel. But right now, what we can do is this right here. And this will help you continue through this time.
I have a private theory about leadership, and you know a bit about leadership, having been in the armed forces yourself. I think that I've always kind of, sat back and followed different people to see what they're doing and all of that stuff. I mean, we all do that. But I think that the leaders are the people who stand up now. The people who stand up now and begin leading their crowd and saying, hey, you know what? This way, relief over here. Come listen to this. I think that that's how leaders are made. What do you think about all that?
The best picture of a leader that I have in my mind is a group of people climbing a mountain, and it's the person in the middle with one hand back helping the person behind them and one hand forward reaching out, right? Leaders are the people that look for advice, mentorship, growth opportunities, but then also at the same time help the next person connect with those resources, find that mentorship, and guide them down the path that they're all traveling on. There's a billion different leaders in the world. There's a lot of different ways to lead. I get asked who are my mentors pretty regularly, right? And ultimately, I know this is kind of a strange answer, but I find mentorship in every single person that I build a relationship with, because or even interact with, because I'm either watching you for things that I see that are valuable to me and valuable to others that I can take on and embody, or things that I do not see add value and do not want to do to others. And so learning from others and take that into your lifestyle and what you want to do allows you to be agile and adaptive and really provide value not only to your inner circle but beyond. So I believe in not just making an impact in you, but making an impact that impacts the people around you, right? Creating ripples that travel throughout entire communities, because that is how you build an ecosystem. That is how you change minds, and that's how you create opportunity around you.
Perfect. Everybody, we have been talking with my friend and startup expert, Robert Blacklidge. How do people get a hold of you to talk more about these things, Robert?
Absolutely. So I am on most of the socials. If you Google me, you will find me. But ultimately, you are more than welcome to email me at robert@entrepreneursmatter.org. And I would love to meet with you or have a conversation.
I'm just typing it into the chat, my friend.
No
Robert
worries.
at entrepreneursmatter.org. Also, we're streaming on many, many different channels today. We're on the LinkedIns, we're on the Twitches, the YouTubes, a couple of places on Facebook. Get a hold of Robert. If you have an idea, he sees opportunity where other people see not some opportunity. So he has an eye for opportunity. He has a heart for entrepreneurs, and he can lead you to a better place if you're not in a great one right now. Thank you, Robert, for coming on the show today. The Bot Signal will welcome you back any old time you want to show up.
Absolutely. Well, I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, stay safe in these crazy times.
All right, my friends, stay safe, wash your hands, and you know this. I will see you in a bot.